My boyfriend keeps making petty dramas. Is it finally time to end it? I've been divorced for 3 years, and I've been dating my boyfriend for 2 years. When we started dating, he had a nice house and a normal job, and we were very happy. About 6 months into our relationship, he started using his house as an Airbnb, and it has become very successful, meaning it's rented more often than not. My BF is very outdoorsy, so when he's not staying in his house, he goes out camping or stays with me at my house for a few days. And he has still maintained his normal job. However, we both come to acknowledge that when he is coming off of a camping stretch, which usually lasts only 4 days or so, he is very irritable and starts a fight with me or makes immature comments that he knows rile me up. We have open communication, and I went to therapy after my divorce, so I openly talk about the tools I've learned to communicate in a healthy way. We discuss why he feels so aggravated coming off a camping trip, and it has to do with changing routine, and he doesn't always feel totally welcome at my place. And I don't understand why he feels unwelcome, because one of the tactics we devised was to make a sort of schedule, so he can adjust his routine from camping, to my house, to his. That tactic is not working, though. As evidenced by him totally blowing me off yesterday and not telling me where he was when we had plans. I was married for a long time and never had the experience of immaturity, pettiness, and my own urge to pull my hair out when I get texts like, "I didn't hear from you all day, so I guess you don't care about me." Like, I'm a grown-ass woman with a kid and a demanding career. Who talks to another adult that way? We've had a few other bumps outside of his tendency to tear apart our relationship like a teen drama. I got an injury on a 2-day backpacking trip a year ago, and he totally berated me on the spot, telling me I was unfit to do the hobbies I enjoyed. He didn't help to carry my equipment or take extra breaks throughout the day. I ended up with a staph infection in both feet and 6 months of physical therapy for my knee. He's 6 feet 3 inches, 190 pounds of lean muscle. I'm 5 feet 3 inches, 125, carrying the same pack weight. As you can imagine, I was definitely unfit the entire winter and spring for a lot of my hobbies. We've also had uncomfortable conversations around money. I have made/saved more money than him and like to do fun things and go to nice restaurants. Last summer I planned a road trip up the CA coast with my son, and my BF wanted to come. I said that I planned to eat out a lot and go to theme parks and museums since I was saving money by camping instead of staying at hotels. He said he was good with that, but he wouldn't dine out. I said that would be awkward, especially since we were meeting my dad for part of the trip, but look. Well, I ended up paying for his meals, drinks, snacks, entry tickets, all the gas, camping reservations, etc. Even when he was the only one eating, he would look to me for money. I was so frustrated by this, but I also didn't want to draw attention and make him feel bad. When we came back, I texted my sister about it because I needed an outlet. About a month later, he told me that he accidentally read the conversation with my sister. Of course, he brought up how hurtful it was to be talked about behind his back during a fight about a totally different topic. Oh. It was the hiking trip mentioned above, to make me feel bad while I was expressing my feelings about the way I was yelled at while injured. How normal is all of this? I certainly can't take the next step with a person who treats me like this, right? Even if the in-between times are good? If you're still reading, thank you. I needed to get that out. You should also know that he has good qualities, too. He helps around my house, my family loves him, we have a great time sharing hobbies, and he's super hot. Comment? Your BF's behaviors should be deal breakers for you. Berating you for getting an injury, which happens to people outdoors regardless of fitness. Ask my OG Outdoors partner who had a catastrophic accident doing a sport he is an expert at, and refusing to help you. That's unsafe outdoors behavior right there. I do a niche outdoor sport, and dudes like your BF are widely looked down upon for their attitudes, which are unsafe and which put people off the sport. They always seem to target their GFs. My partner's ex-GF sprained her ankle on a hike and he carried her 5 miles down trail to safety. I just really dislike and have contempt for your BF due to this behavior alone. Inviting himself on a trip and then looking to you to fully fund it. He snoops on you and then gets super hurt that you are venting about his bad behavior. Up. Even when he was the only one eating, he would look to me for money. And where's your backbone, though? That story is heartbreaking. It's also so sad that you stayed with him after. Maybe just tell him that what he did to you on your backpacking trip was unforgivable. You have tried, but you can't. No one should treat one they love like he treated you. He's also a bit of a leech. But you don't need to bring that up. I've read all of it, I'm glad it was cathartic for you. It doesn't sound like he has any desire to change, and is blaming you to make you feel bad about expressing feelings, as you said. I don't see this changing, do you? I'd end it, personally. He's petty, uncaring, berating and yelling at you for being injured and struggling because of his selfishness, and immature. Question is, how long do you plan to hope he changes? He's not nice. Doesn't consider you but expects you to consider him. He's almost 40. He ain't changing for you. Just long enough to draw you back in. What I'm hearing is that he can change his behavior but he doesn't want to. If he actually wanted to change, he would continue with his improved behavior, with maybe the occasional backslide, which he would then immediately correct without you having to have several additional conversations about it. He only changes long enough to manipulate you into staying, and then he reverts back to the real him as soon as he feels it's safe to do so. I'm not saying you should break up with him, but you should really break up with him. Actions are what counts. He'll tell you whatever you want to hear. At this point, I think it's time to move on. He's 36 years old and the chances of him really changing at this point aren't good. What was he doing with your phone when he read your message to your sister? I doubt it was an accident that he just happened upon it. He's disrespectful and insecure. I can't imagine you wanting to be under his thumb. Story 2. I feel like a convenience in my boyfriend life, especially when his son is around. Am I being manipulated? I started dating my boyfriend 2.5 years ago. He has an 11-year-old son of which he shares 50-50 its custody with BF, and BM never married and hadn't been together since the son was a baby, plus she is remarried with more kids. Although I've never met her, I don't have a problem with her and would be open to meeting her. I don't have kids, but I want to someday soon. When we first started dating, we both wanted something casual as we both recently got out of other relationships. As months and years went by, we became very close and fell in love. The problem is, as time goes on, I'm beginning to feel more and more like just a convenience to his life rather than a priority. The first 8 months of our relationship, he had custody somewhat. This worked perfectly for me because it gave me time to focus on myself, work, gym, hobbies, friends, family, etc. The son then wanted to change the schedule to week on week off. At first it was okay, but after a year I became lonely when I'm not with him. Keep in mind, the weeks he doesn't have his son, he is attached to the hip to me. We do almost everything together since we both work from home. When I'm not with him, I barely even get a good morning text, never FaceTime, I don't see him, and barely hear from him. I feel like I'm just a replacement companion for when his son isn't there. I know he isn't cheating since I have his location and trust him. He spends 100% of his time with his son and also homeschools him. So we literally have no time to spend together. He said he would never have someone else watch his son, even a family member, so that completely rules out even spending 10 minutes alone together during those weeks. After a year and a half of dating, I begged him to meet his son and he finally agreed. We get along well. I would love to get to know him more and eventually be in his life more. It's been 8 months since we met, and at first I was able to see my BF with his son 1 to 2 times a week when he had him. We only did activities like going to the park/beach, but I've never once been invited over for dinner or anything. The last few months I haven't seen them at all during the week on. He has family events and doesn't even think about inviting me. I've met his entire family, so it's not like they don't know me. I feel stupid for asking him to invite me and I shouldn't have to. The days he gives him back, he's in a horrible mood for 24+ hours and I have to comfort him. Prior to going sober months ago, he used to resort to binge drinking every day he wasn't with his son. It doesn't sound like a healthy father-son relationship, but maybe I am being judgmental. I don't have kids, so how could I know? We are also never physically intimate the times he's with his son. This really sucks because I have a high intimate drive. Plus lately, the last few months or so, he barely ever wants intimate when we are together. I've told him many times how it's affecting my self-esteem, but he thinks I want intimate out of desperation and use it as a form of control, which isn't true at all. I just like intimate and feeling desired. It's just really annoying only having intimate 4-5x a month when I would love to do it every day or at least every other day. He used an analogy once, you love ice cream, right? Well, imagine having the same flavor every day. Wouldn't you get tired of it? I think I'm a good-looking woman, so I know him not desiring me has nothing to do with the way I look. I've also lost weight since we met, so I know that's not the issue either. He is overweight, so that may have caused a problem with his ed, but he refuses to get it checked out. Anyways, he lives with his dad. His mom passed away 11 years ago, and has no intention of ever moving since he has to take care of the dad who has a sickness. I own my own place. It's a 1BR and not big enough for 2 more people. I've asked him many times to at least come up with a plan to move in together and he completely avoids it. I'm okay with renting out my place and renting a house together. I'm just really hurt that there's no plans or talks about the future together. Also, he has never offered once to help me pay for my mortgage despite him staying with me every other week the last 2+ years. I got laid off from my job this year and he never offered to help me out. I get it's not his responsibility, but he literally has no bills except for car insurance and child support. Keep in mind, This guy told me he makes over $200K/year and has over $600,000 saved. I don't care about money, but I would appreciate it if he would at least offer, since I barely had money to pay for food the last few months. I would at least like him to promise or desire a future with me. He said he can't say he wants to be with me forever because nothing is forever, and he's had other women promise forever and it didn't work out. It hurts that he said that to previous GFS and lived with them but not me, even though I've been with him longer. Now he's changed his mind on marriage and more kids, even though he previously talked about it with me and ex-GFS. He says his reason is BC he doesn't trust the government and doesn't want them involved with his life. He said once his son turns 18, he will be free and can travel. WTF is the point of me then? I'd wasted my precious time. I could have been with someone this whole time that promised me the world. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. It feels like I'm more of a convenience than a priority. I feel like I have to completely change my life and routine every other week to cater to him. I'm torn because I love him so much and feel a strong connection, but I also feel lonely, hopeless, and unimportant in his life. I've expressed my feelings to him multiple times, but he ignores me and makes me question my sanity. We barely ever fight, but mainly because I'm afraid to start problems. I have to walk on eggshells when I have issues, or else he will leave and go stay at his dad's house. He downplays my feelings and says I'm overly sensitive. Am I overreacting, or is he manipulating me? I'm afraid to end things because he's had explosive episodes in the past. Comment? At the core, you are not compatible. You want things he's not interested in. It's important to actually know what you are looking for in a relationship. Don't just go with the flow. Be picky. And move on when your needs are not being met. Doesn't mean someone's a bad person. Just means they are not right for you. What are you getting out of this relationship? Your partner isn't supportive, doesn't include you in his life, and doesn't value your feelings. He has a full life that is clearly his priority. You are not married to him. You don't owe him anything. You should be with a partner that values you and takes your needs into consideration. That's not happening now, and I'm not sure if it ever did. Take a step back and really think about how this relationship is going. Does your boyfriend initiate contact with you? Ask you about your needs? Consider how you will move forward as a couple? How do your friends view your partner? Your family? Did they say why they didn't like him? A relationship you have to hide is no relationship at all. You're scared of him lashing out. I think you need to conceive a safe exit plan. It would be better to be single than with someone who is possibly alcoholic, don't prioritize you or communicate well, and lashes out. You have your own place, and this relationship sounds like it is going nowhere because he lives with his mother and has per your post indicated he has no intention of marrying you or anyone at this point. It's only been 2.5 years, but you are only 30 and have plenty of time for a man who wants to be with you for the long haul. This BF of yours seems more like he wants you around for what you provide when he wants it. It doesn't sound like you have anything at his mother's house, so perhaps the next time he reaches out after his son has gone home, wish him well and move on. If you have given him a key to your place, change the locks first.